Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, we're going to talk about the ways women can adjust their mindset to help men take them more seriously. And I did the opposite one as well, what men can do to help ladies take them more seriously, okay? So, the reason why they're separate is because it's different based on the gender. So today, we're going to talk about what ladies can do for their mindset, behavioral, whatever it is, to actually help men take her more seriously and for her to get benefits out of that relationship, okay? The research will be in the description box. Today, we're going to talk about how men respond positively to women who tend to have a trusting mindset, okay? So this is different. The male version is respect mindset, and you can watch that video and the benefits of that. I'm not saying to trust somebody who has shown that they are not trustworthy, but I am saying that it is important to give men the benefit of the doubt and believe that overall men are decent. Why is this so important? A lot of people in this particular situation, now I'm recording this 2025 in November, unfortunately, trust is very scarce among ladies, and this is causing disruption within interpersonal dynamics. Similarly, the male's version is a lot of times they allow disrespect, but also disrespect the opposite sex. This happens as well. I'm not picking on one gender or another. I'm just talking about dynamics to help y'all. And trust is one of the issues that is presented commonly among women in relationships. Why is that? A lot of women are not open to the possibility that a man can necessarily treat her well, and she preemptively has decided that this person is not good for her. And what we can see is a lot of times women may hold men to a very high standard because somewhere inside it's a way for her to push that partner away unless he fits a very specific criteria because she doesn't trust him. So let's say, for example, you only want to date a guy who, I see this a lot, okay? And I don't fully agree with it. I don't think it's healthy. A lot of women say date a guy who loves you more than you love him. This is actually I don't even think you can measure that, but all that it basically means from my perspective, and I could be wrong, please correct me, is you feel insecure if you're not being put on a pedestal or being treated like a goddess or whatever these new terms are. I'm not even familiar with it fully. But what ends up happening is it comes from you lacking trust in yourself and him, right? You don't feel that just because a guy doesn't know how to communicate his love the way you want to be loved doesn't mean he doesn't love you. It doesn't mean he's going to leave you. It doesn't mean he's going to cheat on you, and you have to give him a chance. He also has to protect himself, right? That's putting him on the shorter end of the stick. And a lot of men don't even want to put themselves in that position. Rather, you guys just love each other equally but different the way you guys present yourself and then learn, right? And so this adds peace to the relationship. A lot of men really appreciate peace. And we're going to talk about the research of why adding trust in your relationship can help you if you're a woman, and why men actually respond differently in a positive way to ladies who do this, okay? The first one is greater relationship satisfaction. This research was done in 2023. Research does show there's a strong indicator that relationship satisfaction is correlated to trust. So, in the study of these adults, this one, 2023, this one was not done in the United States, but I still feel like it's very interesting. I'm in the United States, so I prefer research done in the United States because I understand the culture. But still, this one's really interesting. So basically what we saw is that individuals who trust their partner, examples would be like leaning into the relationship, not being overly paranoid, not looking at each other's phone all the time, asking, maybe more negative or probing questions, and just trusting your partner and seeing them in a better light. This increases relationship satisfaction and decreases the likelihood of breaking up. I think this is really important, and I think a lot of people need to know this. The next one is enhanced mental well-being, okay? This research was also not done in the United States, but still really interesting. Research was done in 2022. What we saw is if you're able to trust your partner, this actually does correlate with better mental health for you. And it helps the relationship to increasingly become satisfactory, which also increases your mental health. So why is this the case? If you're always negative about your partner, you're always looking at things about how men are doing wrong or right or whatever it is, right? Looking at those things, what ends up happening is you're not looking at the things he does provide. And if you want to be in a healthy relationship with a man, a lot of them are not going to like being continuously questioned or continuously judged against something that he didn't even do, right? It's not fair for him. And I hope that you can understand that. I know a lot of you guys don't mean it like that, but leaning into trusting him may be beneficial, especially if he didn't do anything wrong, okay? The next one is actually stability is created through this pro-relationship behavior, which just means leaning into the relationship instead of leaning out, okay? So this research was done in 2020 among young women. This was more specifically towards young women. The research does show when trust decreases, we can actually see that creating more pro-relationship behavior, spending time together, communicating openly, communicating directly, telling him what's bothering you, and trying to trust him actually restores trust. I'm not saying that the trust was necessarily your fault or his fault or whatever it is. I'm not saying to trust him right away, but let's say, for example, he forgot your birthday. He had a stressful day. He forgot it was your birthday, whatever it is. It happens, right? It's not on purpose. And your trust got broken. Rightfully so. His side is rightfully as well. After that, he says, hey, I'm going to make it up to you. Let's do this together. Instead of being upset or grudging, you can still be upset, but you still want to lean into that and believe that he didn't mean it like that. And immediately that creates more health for the relationship. And it also makes him feel like he can make you happy. Because a lot of times, a lot of men, and a lot of you guys are men, making a woman happy, you like to do that. Right? It's your nature. It's how men are. But as long as he's able to do that, he doesn't want to be held to such a standard that it's impossible. He wants a little bit of leeway. Just give him the benefit of the doubt. It really may help relationships. Based on this research, it truly does, okay? The next one is, this one might be a lot, but I think it's important. Trusting people, especially, but also in relationships, can actually lower the risk of jealousy and abuse. Okay, so let's talk about it. Research was done in 2017. Unfortunately, individuals that have very low trust, they actually experience more jealousy, and they may actually even, I'm not saying you guys would do this, but perpetrate psychological, or you can look at the research. I don't want to say it, but you might be creating a situation to where your partner feels a little trapped and uncomfortable, right? If you don't trust him. And that's not healthy for the relationship. And he might feel like he's not allowed to be himself. So he might feel emotionally dysregulated, okay? We're not going to talk too much on that, but basically some forms of abuse comes from mistrust, right? A lot of people who hurt other people, it comes from them feeling insecure about themselves. And so look into that research if you want more details on it, okay? It's in the description box if you can. If not, maybe you can look into why trust can be beneficial and reduce those risk factors of abuse within relationships, because there's some things I can't say on YouTube, okay? The next one is actually by trusting your partner, it actually reduces your how do I even explain it? Reduces your insecure attachment and actually increases higher healthy attachment and relationship satisfaction, okay? So this research was done for married couples, okay? 2025, which I know a lot of you guys might not be married, but I still feel like this research can help. What we saw is mutual trust actually mitigates negative efforts of insecure attachment. So let's say a person is like very anxious or very insecure or even avoidant or whatever these issues are. By having trust on both sides, those attachment issues are reduced. In other words, even if a person is behaving a certain way that is maladaptive, adding trust can actually buffer the negative impact, which is very healthy for relationships. So if you add more trust to this relationship, this man that you are in a relationship with, you're married to, whatever it is, it will make him feel safer and will make you feel safer. It's both beneficial. I think that's a very healthy perspective. The next one is that trust actually builds more likely to have more relationship behaviors. I'm going to explain that. This research was 1998. I know some of you guys don't like old research. I feel like some old research is very fundamental and it's very important. This one in particular, what we can see is that commitment is directly correlated to trust, but also creates more pro-relationship acts. I'm going to explain that, okay? If you are a lady and you trust your partner and you're more open to letting him be himself, right? Maybe he's playing video games and you're annoyed because you feel like that means he doesn't care about you. Let's say you had a disagreement and he's like, you know what? I need to take a little bit of a break. Let me play video games, just get my mind off. In your mind, you might say, oh, he doesn't care about me. He likes his video games better, or whatever your thoughts are, okay? And I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying that's a possibility, right? Instead, if you think, oh, he needs time to disengage, maybe this is time for me to disengage, kind of reflect on maybe what I could have done that made him feel stressed, what I can do better, what he can do better that I can bring to him and communicate more clearly. What ends up happening is because you did that, built trust, he is more likely, as well as you are, to do more pro-relationship acts, sacrifice, accommodation, compromise, connection, intimacy, because both you guys feel more safe. And so you are, if that's what you're looking for as a woman, you want a man to take you more seriously, he's going to do that. And as a man, a lot of you guys probably understand that feeling a little bit like, cornered or trapped in a particular situation, you're not going to fork over all your emotional investments. You're going to hold it much more tighter and away from a person who's maybe expecting something from you without giving you something in return, right? Relationships are a two-way street. So that's kind of where it comes from, okay? The next one is that it actually reduces stress after a conflict. If you trust your partner, we just gave this video game example, and you trust that he just needs to relax and that later you guys can have a constructive conversation, he's going to feel more likely to be more open to you, more honest with you, and he will actually feel more likely to engage within the relationship instead of lean out, okay? And this research was done in 2020. All that it means is he'll be more likely to hear you out with what you're saying because he feels more safe and less flooded emotionally, okay? So I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I will see you in the next one.